morning, guys. Just going for a nice little morning drive here in the Caprice, the giveaway vehicle. Just wanted to let you guys know that this hot rod here only got a few little upgrades left, and then it's ready to go to its new owner, which is undecided at this point. It could be you. All you have to do to get entered to win is go to lsnasty.com, and every dollar you spend is an entry. We got a swag box up there, which is triple entries, and it is, and we got a bunch of new merchandise, and this thing right here is just an absolute beast. If you guys can hear this thing, which I'm sure you can. It cracks me up. It cracks me up. Yeah, this thing is a load of fun. 6-liter TKM big stick camshaft. It's got a yank converter in it, some Cook's long tube headers. It's got all the goodies in the engine, new oil pump, trunnion upgrade, push rods, valve springs. All of the work's done by my guys over at Blaze Knight Performance. They absolutely knocked it out of the park, and it runs too. It runs pretty good. It makes about 500 horsepower up top, and it's for sure to peel your muffin cap back blue. So if you're on the market for a new daily, you need something with a little bit more get up and go, or you just want a badass hot rod, or you just want to win a car from purchasing a t-shirt or a hat or a sticker or a poster or socks or boxers or hoodies, go to lsnasty.com and get entered to win. It doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. God. Before everyone goes nuts, that was like 10% throttle, okay? So just chill out. I know how you guys are in the comment section.
Is this where I need to be quiet?
Wow. Alright guys, go to lsnasty.com, first link in the description below, get your entries to win that badass hot rod right there. It could be sitting in your driveway, you could be driving it to work, pissing your neighbors off, cold starts in the morning, but you don't have a chance to win it unless you go to lsnasty.com and get some entries. You got till the 15th, so we got like 6 or 7 days left, so don't sleep on it, get your entries. Alright guys, so you guys have heard me talk about it quite a bit, and it's time to look at it and see what we're about to put together. The Colorado, it is going big block and got a really good deal on a bunch of stuff, and this is my corner of big block. So if you guys haven't noticed, we've been making some renovations to the shop, cleaning it up a little bit. As you can see, the office, minus the mattress right there, that wasn't there yesterday. We had to use one of the trailers that the mattress was in, but the office, cleaned it up quite a bit. We got an engine assembly room, so we have some already assembled engines in here, and this one is 50 chances engine that we have to assemble. We got all the parts sitting on the shelf there, and then over here we got the big block, which is what we have to assemble. So just gonna do a quick overview. I'm not extremely knowledgeable about the big block stuff, but it's an engine. I know what parts it needs to run. Now when it comes down to like what you need to know on it, it's, you know, it's a basic motor. It's a giant version of an LS essentially. So I guess let's start from the top. We'll go over some things that we got here. I haven't even gone through all of the boxes, but I got the motor pretty complete. The only thing that it needs left is it needs head studs and head gaskets and push rods. So on the big block stuff, you know, the LS is very appealing to me because, hey, I need to order a set of head studs. I go, all right, yeah, this is a Gen 3 block, and order some head studs for it. So I go on ARP's website, find the part number, pow, look, I got them sitting right there. Yeah, the head studs right there. An LT motor, hey, I need some head studs. Go on ARP's website, pow, head studs. Now, when it comes to the small block Ford, as you can see there, we got 2 head studs sitting in that. In the big block, it's not like, hey, just go online and order it. You have to do some research. So, for example, on this small block Ford we have sitting right here, the head studs actually need to be cut so they're the proper length so you can fit the rocker arms on so they don't stick out the head. So you have to get your measurements right. Same thing with the big block. So you can't actually order your head studs until you figure out what head gasket you're going to run and then set the head on there and then get the proper measurement. So don't have head studs ordered yet, but they should have them in stock once we get the bottom end assembled and get ready to put the heads on it. All right, so let's dive into it. Iron block, Dart, Big M. All you guys that are big block Chevrolet fans, I guess this is like your go-to iron block. This is 484 bore space. It's actually set up to be a 500 cubic inch big block. I think you guys have heard me mention that before. All the machine work is done by TCAM Performance. So this has the top fuel hoops in it. The heads already have the receiver groove and the hoop in it as well. It's all been decked. All the machine work done by Kevin, Cornbread, Sammy, all the guys up there at TKM. So, you know, this thing's going to run pretty good. So, a 500 cubic inch, 484, iron block, heavy, wheelie control. I like it. Go over here to the rods. Just like the LS stuff, looks very similar. I've always run the MGP rods. This already, you know, everything already came with this. So these are Bill Miller Engineering. These are Pro Mod series rods. So this is the Bill Miller Pro Mod rods. Aluminum rod, I mean, there's not much to it. It's a chunk of aluminum cut out and should be, you know, good to go. Not sure what else there's to talk about it, you know. Aluminum rods, chunk of aluminum. They cut it out to look like a rod. You stick it in your motor, you go pretty fast. All right, pistons. Let's talk pistons. Now, the size of the piston is absolutely massive compared to an LS piston. This is just, it's huge. We got some coated JE pistons. The motor is set up to be, I believe, 10.5 to 1 compression. On my LS stuff, I run like 11.5, 12, depending on the configuration. My blower stuff, I run 12 to 1 compression. A lot of the turbo stuff, 11.5. The street, even like the cow is 11 to 1. I run higher compression on that smaller motor. I think you can get away with it. With this being such a big motor, 500 cubic inches, you're just going to cram a shit ton of boost to it. So I'm not really worried about having a high compression big block. We're running a set of twin 94s on there, so boost wise, I mean, this piston here, you know, I take it out every night, I talk to it, give it a little pep talk. I'm like, listen, buddy, you look great, but you're about to go through hell. You're about to see a lot of things, and it's gonna be a ride. So hang in there. And I kind of give them all a pep talk just to let them know. But as you can see, no dish on the pistons. We don't like to run a dish. It's got big cutouts for the valve relief. But just overall, just a good looking piston there. So the crank, which I'm not going to pick up, is a Bryant billet crank, very similar to like what we have in the Black Sheep. The Black Sheep, I believe we've got a Cali's Ultra billet. It's kind of like the rods. You know, an aluminum rod is an aluminum rod. A billet crank's a billet crank. Pistons, rods, crank, all badass stuff. Really going to be able to make a shit ton of power. All right, so then we get into the top end stuff, and I feel like this is where a lot of people are like, oh, this is where all the power's made, or oh, this is not where all the power's made. I'm a firm believer that if you have just a decent cylinder head, you will be able to go extremely fast on a turbo application. Naturally aspirated, you got to have the absolute baddest heads ever created. Nitrous, you got to have some badass heads. When it comes to the turbo stuff, the boost stuff, I'm not really sold on having an absolutely badass head. I think a good flowing head, something decent, you can go pretty quick. Look at Justin Swanstrom, for example. Now, I'm not trying to steer you away if you want to buy a set of badass heads, but all I'm saying is Justin Swanstrom had a set of stock heads on his TKM Black Sheep Stage 1 package, and he went like 480s in a 3,000-pound car. It was flying. The boost reading is a little bit higher, because it's showing more restriction, but the actual, if you just go off of sheer horsepower, I'm not sure if the cylinder head is going to limit you horsepower. I think your turbo is going to limit you horsepower. I think that if you can spool it up and you can run a big enough turbo, a stock cylinder head will make as much horsepower as some of the other ported cylinder heads. It's going to show a lot more boost, maybe be some more restriction, but I think you can do it. But speaking on the big block, we got a badass cylinder head. You know, of course, we're going to run some T&D rocker arms. Shout out to Sheldon, all the guys over at T&D. God dang! Everything is much heavier than an LS motor. That's one thing you can tell it's a big block because it's not as light as an LS. All right. All right, cylinder head wise. Let's talk about cylinder heads. These are a set of Edelbrock. I don't even know what they are. I guess this is like the go-to head. Cylinder head, big block Chevy, 24 degree. And you send these off to RFD and they port them, so they have they're absolutely sick. And I know what you guys are saying, everything you just talked about you're going against. Got it on a smoking deal, badass heads. These flow an absolute shit ton. These things are sick. I mean, look at the size. Look at the size of the valve. I mean, I'm used to LS stuff. This is absolutely insane how massive it is. It's a little weird to look at, because I'm so used to looking at the LS stuff that all the runners are side by side, but this thing is an absolute unit. Look at the size of the exhaust port. Just insane. This is absolutely insane. So, RFD cylinder heads. It's got the spring package put on it from the guys at TKM. Big springs, solid roller camshaft that came with it. As you can see right there, we got a bullet cam. And this thing right here is... it's massive. If you just think about the actual footprint, this has got a bolt on top of the block and then fit in the engine bay. It's insane. So, from what I'm learning, I'm doing my research on the big block stuff. I guess the downside of the big block is the head studs. You can't run a super big head stud. So you have to stay on top of torquing them down. If they do stretch a little bit, you don't want to blow a head gasket, torch your cylinder head, damage the head, damage the block. So you got to stay on top of it until they quit stretching, essentially. But it's just something different to look at compared to the LS stuff. Is you got your perimeter head studs going to go in there. I mean, it's wild. It's just a whole different crazy look to me. But something like this, I think if we can make... I think we'll be turbo limited on horsepower. I think we'll probably be able to make like 3,300 horsepower with these guys here. Cast block, cast head, no billet stuff, minus the intake. But I think if we can make like 3,300 horsepower full tilt, have the ability to use it, not really use it all the time, I think we'll be pretty bad to the bone. The Colorado should fly, you know, going from something that's going to make 1,500, 2,000 horsepower to 35. I think the chassis is all there. But we're just going to have to wait and see. So, absolutely sick cylinder head. It's going to flow great with a set of twin 94 TDI turbos. A little bit something different on the rocker arms here. Individual rocker stands. Look at that. So, I know you guys have seen the T&D rockers before. It's got the billet steel rockers. Extremely nice stuff here. You really can't go wrong with T&D. Individual rocker stands. I've never messed with individual rocker stands before, but essentially they all bolt on and then they bolt together, and then you're over here rocking. So it's a little bit different, but if you guys look here, this is I got two of the rockers. This is my bag of carnage from the Black Sheep when I broke a lifter. Here's the push rod out of it. And then here are the rockers. As you can see, there's the damage on them. But the same style shaft mount rockers, and then this bolts onto a big, shaft that goes all the way down, the stand, the rocker stand for the entire cylinder head. This one here, almost identical rocker arm, but individual. So I'm not sure the benefits of that. Someone that knows that stuff's gonna have to comment down below and be like, oh, this is why you do that. But it looks sick. Makes it pretty easy to replace if you break one. Just unbolt it, pop that sucker out, put a new one in there, and be good to go. But having good valve train, rocker arms, valve train geometry is very important. And T&D rocker arms are pretty much your one-stop shop for everything you need. We got them on some stock block LS stuff. We got them on the Black Sheep. We got them on the Silverback Z06. I got them on the Blizzard. Now we got them in the Colorado. Pretty much everything we run has T&D rocker arms. So if you're in the market for rocker arms, call them up, talk to Sheldon, get you some badass rocker arms. So after that, we got to order a set of push rods, which we won't know, like I said before, until we get it actually on the motor. And once that's all done, we'll slap some valve covers. Got to get some big block, nasty valve covers made up with some valve cover breathers. Then we bolt the intake on it. So this is a Marcella intake. It's set up for dual injectors. So we're going to run 2 sets of 700s. Comes with a nice big-ass fuel rail. Big block stuff, again, something different from the LS is the valley tray on this. It's like all one piece. It kind of bolts to the stand for the runners. So it looks a little bit different. Some spiders in there, so I'm not going to touch it. But as you can see, badass intake. So badass intake. We got some other stuff like a belt drive for the front of the motor. I got to get a balancer for it too. That's one of the other things. So altogether, the big block in the Colorado is going to be sick. I think it's going to make a lot of power. I know it's going to sound sick. 500 cubic inches. I know compared to the 427, or I even have a 460 cubic inch LS. Doesn't seem that much bigger, but when you actually look at the parts, it's built different. It really is. It's a whole level up. The LS stuff's badass, but this thing here is like big power. Like big power. I'm excited. I think it's going to be paired great with those TDI 94s. Mickey 2-speed 400, Hughes converter. Again, TKM did all the machine work, so it's going to fly. Myself and Matt, we're going to assemble it, and we should be ready to rip. So I think Matt comes back later this week. Everyone's been asking, where's Matt been? Matt has a whole shop that he runs in Greenville, South Carolina. So he's back there working at his shop, getting some stuff done, and he's going to come back down here. We're going to put some motors together, go racing, go testing, and do some work. So there's your update on the big block. When Matt gets back here, we'll probably do a video assembly, and Matt will be able to talk to you. If you guys are at home trying to build a big block and want some pointers and tips, Matt will be able to point you in the right direction. For me, this is all new to me, the big block stuff, but it looks cool. It's massive compared to the LS stuff, and big block nasty is a thing now, so it's an actual thing. So that's gonna wrap today's video. Just want to show you guys the big block that we got going on here at the shop, and go to lsnasty.com, get entered to win my Caprice, and enjoy the day. We'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload.
He gets to buy this round. John Doc got to buy this round.